Hey Kevin, hope you're well, mate. Um, so, just a quick one here today, I think. I want you to feel like your arms get really high in the backswing. So, what I mean by that is, at this moment in time, I want you to send me a swing without a ball, without anything. You're not hitting anything, but I just want you to kind of, I guess, pause when you get to this position here. Okay, so parallel to the ground. And then as you turn, I want you to feel like your arms are lifting straight up and your arms are getting really high. Okay, so what I'd be looking for in a drill, right, in a dry drill, would be that your hands and arms get maybe more up here. Okay, I want to see what that looks like. And I want you to do that a few times. And I think over time, you're going to start to get used to those arms getting a little higher. Okay, now, why do I want that to happen? Well, if you look at the face-on view here, you can definitely see how around the arms go. Okay, so to me, this gets the shoulders a little flat when you turn. Okay, so we could argue you need a little bit more tilt in the shoulders as well, but I feel like these arms, right, or these hands being level with the head like this, they're just stuck around the corner a little bit too much. And what that's going to cause is at some point, right, we want some room. So if I look at the depth of your arms, right, they're behind your heel lines here. Okay. I'd like to eventually get the depth to be maybe, between the heel and the shoelaces. Let's say right about here, which would mean those hands need to be a fraction higher. Okay. Because right now, when they're so deep behind you, really it's really hard to shallow the club from here. It's really hard for. I'm not saying you're not athletic, right? But I'm just saying regular people who aren't professional golfers and athletes, right? Let's say, it's really hard to drop the club underneath and have the amount of force and rotation required to get their body out of the way to get this to work. So what happens is that the typical player will eventually get the hands and arms to just get going out towards the ball a bit too much. And you can see here that the club it doesn't steepen per se, but it definitely goes in that direction. And the club head gets a little outside the hands. Your body's not really rotating, and you strike the ball with a fairly closed, a closed rotational body. So the shoulders are pretty square. The hips haven't opened that much. So the one thing we want to do is give the body an incentive to rotate, which means we need to feel like the club is coming from a little bit more underneath you, or behind you, I should say. Okay. To do that, I feel like we need the arms higher. Okay. So when the arms get higher, let's say we're about here, the club would then be somewhere over here, as an example. Now it would be possible for the club to shallow and then for you to rotate around the corner, if that makes sense. Okay. So you can still see a little bit of a pull shot. Okay. And ideally we'd want this start direction. Like if we're training this, if you had an alignment stick like right here, right, on the grass, you'd want the ball to be able, right, or for your swing to be able to move the golf ball like that. Okay, now to do that, we need to get the club to shallow out a lot more. Okay, so a little pull there, big pull there. So the common tendency, right, is to pull it. Okay, I think there was one here where you did a decent job of getting this ball to, this one here. This was a lot better. See how much straighter that stayed? And we can see here that the club kind of, I guess, shallows a little bit. So if you can see here, there's the club. Now it's shallowing. Right, so it's always working under the plane, okay? And it would be a lot easier for you to do that if the arms are a little bit higher, all right? So Hopefully that makes sense to you, mate. Any questions, let me know. But what I want you to send me is a swing where you feel like you'll literally get the club to parallel, okay? And then I want you to keep turning the body, but get the hands and arms up really high above your head, okay? As a drill, I just want to see that.